in British social history.
I was born out of wedlock in 1856. My father's name was Hardie. My mother's name was Kier. So I was christened James Kier Hardie. We were very poor. I left school at 8, and when I was 10, I had a job as a delivery boy for the Glasgow bakers, McBrain's. The experiences of childhood have a great effect on a man.
Jamie! Why are you home so soon? Oh, Jamie, you don't mean...
I do. I've lost my job.
Oh, Jamie! But McBrain's was one of the best bakers in Glasgow.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Mother, but that's the only bread you're like to get from me. The young girl in the shop gave it to me as I was leaving.
But what happened? Why did McBrain give you the sack?
It was like this, Mother. I was late this morning, as you know.
Oh, you were up half the night with your brother being so poorly. That wasn't your fault.
I know, but McBrain didn't. When I got there, he told me in the shop to go up to the dining room. Mother, I'll never forget the sight of that breakfast table as long as I live. It was eggs and a great dish of bacon, bread and butter, and a silver teapot. Mr. McBrain was just wiping his mouth with some fancy cloth. "Boy," he said, "this is the third time you've been late, so I've no option but to dismiss you."
Oh, but Jamie, I suppose he'll have kept some of your pay back. How much did he give you?
I'm sorry, Mother.
You'll have to go right out to the shops with it. We haven't got a penny in the house, and we'll get naught more at Mrs. Dunnett's shop unless we pay in the nail for it. Oh, Jamie! But we need that money. You've earned it.
I have that. I've been there from 7 in the morning till 7:30 in the evening, 6 days a week.
But it's nearly evening now. Where have you been all day?
Walking the streets. I was ashamed to come home and tell you I'd lost my job.
Did you not try to get him to change his mind?
I did. I went back this afternoon and pleaded with him, but he wouldn't. I even told him you were expecting, but it did no good. "That's the poor all over for you," he said. "Breeding children they cannot support."
Oh, Jamie. I'm with your father away looking for work.
Oh, Mother, I'm so sorry.
I know. You're a good lad, Jamie. And it's not all the fault of the rich. There's that.
Aye, the drink. If he drank less when he was working, he might save for when he's not.
Look, if you take those bottles down to the scrapyard, you might get a copper or two for them. I've been glad of it in the past, I can tell you.
All right, Mother. I've nothing else to do. Mother! Mother!
Oh, that's your brother. He'll be wanting some more water. He's thirsty all the time. Fill up the bucket, Jamie.
He's lucky not to be hungry.
The memory of those early days abides with me, for such things still abound in our midst. I became a miner like so many men around me. Eventually I was elected as the union representative of the Ayrshire miners and attended my first trade union congress in 1887. Then the Liberal Party were our champions. Henry Broadhurst was a union man and a member of Parliament.
Come in. Ah, Mr. Hardie. Come in and sit down. Yes. Well now, Mr. Hardie, I believe this is the first time you've attended Congress.
Aye, it is.
For a first-time delegate. You seem to have taken a remarkably large part in our proceedings. Now, let me see.
Let me save you the trouble, Mr. Broadhurst. I can see you're a busy man. I tried to move some amendments to that draft bill on employers' liability.
Yes.
Well, I don't know why you look so shocked. It wasn't the Bible we were trying to amend.
And then yesterday you moved a motion criticizing me personally.
I did. And I'll criticize any man who opposes campaigning for an 8-hour day in the mines.
Let me see. Voting 80 to 15, I see.
Ah, well. I know the figures well enough. It's strange how many trade unions seem to be on the same side as the bosses. Like some Liberal MPs I would name.
Come now, Mr. Hardie. The Liberals are the natural champions of the working man. They could stand up for him in Parliament and remedy his grievances. Now, can there really be so much wrong with our system when a man like myself, from a humble background, a stonemason's son, with no education, can end up a minister at the Home Office?
Aye, they can. Because when people like you do get on, you can easily forget the folk who sent you to Parliament. I want to see more working men MPs who stay working men, even though they look and sound like Conservatives. And I want to see more of them. Mr. Broadhurst, how many ministers were there in Gladstone's cabinet when you served under him as a junior minister?
About a dozen, I suppose. There was Gladstone himself, John Bright, Joe Chamberlain, of course.
I'll tell you, 14. And 8 out of 14, 8, mark you, were titled. There was a duke, 5 earls, a marquis. Well, I needn't go on. And in the Ayrshire Miners' Union, we don't believe that dukes and earls know very much about how the poor live.
Yes. And all 1,600 of you believe that, do you? Mr. Hardie, please sit down.
We're a small union, I'll not deny it. But we manage our business well enough.
Yes, well, I have nothing against small unions. Most of those affiliated to the TUC are small, and you know the reason as well as I do. They're craft unions, where their members serve a long apprenticeship. Now, they can stick together. They've a skill to sell which no one else possesses. But you're unskilled workers now.
It is the unskilled who need our help most. The families crowded into rooms, not knowing where their next meal will come from. The mothers, old before their time. The children sent out to work as breadwinners, even before they've learnt to read or write. These are the people who sent me here and whom I speak for, Mr. Broadhurst.
Please sit down, Mr. Hardie. You are not on a platform now. It seems to me you've been up there quite enough already, this Congress.
Aye. But when I see misery all round me, I want to change things. Now. Today. Or tomorrow.
Yes. Well, it's tomorrow that I want to talk to you about. There's this motion down in your name.
There is. That this Congress, recognizing the need for more working-class representation in Parliament so that the voice of the working man can be heard.
Yes, I know its terms well enough. You're asking Congress to try and get more working men candidates adopted.
I am.
And that when, if they get into the House of Commons, they should act together as a separate Labour Party, as you call it.
Yes.
Mr. Hardie, I'm asking you to withdraw that motion.
And why should I?
Because there already is a party in Parliament to represent the working man. The Liberal Party.
The Liberals.
Now,
I'm a Liberal
now
myself.
let me finish. If this motion is passed, it'll upset all the most important and influential people in the party.
Ah, the rich
As
ones,
I
you
was
mean.
saying, you'll frighten many of our most powerful supporters.
Well, maybe it's time they got a fright.
And you will delight the Conservatives. If you don't like Liberals, their sake, come and vote for us. We're the working man's true friend. And in any case, Mr. Hardie, there are already working men in the House of Commons.
Fewer than a dozen. And they always vote with the Liberals. In fact, whatever you call them, they are Liberals.
And are you suggesting that those of
I am
us...
suggesting that we need more of our own people in Parliament. Men who've been cheated and exploited and sacked for no good reason. Men who've lived in one-room hovels without water or their own privy. I'm no interested in helping to elect a sort of people who are in Parliament already, who've never heard a sick bairn cry out with hunger and not known how to comfort it. My motion stands, Mr. Broadhurst. It is the poor who need a party, no the landlords and the capitalists.
Yes. And you'll not give it to them by splitting the one we have. As Congress, I fancy, will tell you tomorrow. Good day, sir.
And Congress did turn it down.
What do you think of the man we've just seen?
I don't think I care.
So I tried myself to become a member of Parliament as a Liberal and a working man.
Right, well, who now have we got? It's,
Hardie.
Hardie.
Oh, yeah.
Come in, Mr. Hardie. Take a seat. We've met before, of course, but Mr. Duncan and Mr. Geddes here are the other members of our little committee. Now, would you mind telling us why you think you're the man we're looking for to keep this seat?
I would, Mr. Butt. First of all, I'd like to say I had a great respect for your last member, a Mr. Stephen Mason.
Why, particularly?
He was a progressive, a radical, and so am I. I've been a member of the Liberal Party all my adult life. I support all of its policies, for example.
How do you stand on Home Rule for Ireland? Some Liberals are unhappy about that.
I'm with Mr. Gladstone there. I believe it's the only way.
And for Scotland?
For Scotland, too. I'm also for temperance reform, for closing down many of the public houses and reducing opening hours for the rest.
And do you think that will gain you votes from the ordinary man?
No, but it'll be very popular with the women folk. I can tell you that.
Unfortunately, women don't have the franchise.
No, and maybe they should.
Oh, so you're in favor of women getting the vote, then, are you? Very interesting.
Where do you stand on electoral reform in general? Most Liberals would feel, I think, that it's gone far enough.
I would not. There are still many men without the vote. Domestic servants, people on poor relief, nearly 2 men out of every 5.
And you'd give these people with not even a home of their own, the vote, would you?
I would. And I'd end plural voting for property owners. Why should a man have more than 2 votes just because he owns a factory or a warehouse?
So you stand for giving votes to stable boys and paupers and taking them away from the businessmen who create this country's wealth?
I stand for every man having 1 vote and no man having more than 1. A servant, aye, and a pauper too, needs his vote more than the rich man. The rich man can look after himself. The poor man needs others in Parliament to help him.
You have a reputation as a troublemaker and an agitator, Mr. Hardie. I think you'd agree.
I'll not deny it. When things are wrong, it's a man's duty to make trouble. The poor have been oppressed for too long. Now they have the ballot in their hands, or most of them. They have a weapon to fight back with at last.
And you believe they can fight best inside the Liberal Party?
Yes. I want to see a group of working men in the Liberal Party, in Parliament, that see that the laws are made that the poor need.
Mr. Hardie, this seems the moment to raise the question of money. As you know, many Liberal members are very generous in paying constituency expenses.
Aye, well, I can't help you there. I earn £1 a week from the Ayrshire Miners' Union, and I earn a guinea from time to time from my column in the Ardrossan Herald. But I've a wife and 2 bairns to support. I've not for fighting elections or paying agents.
And your present income would cease if you were elected and had to move to London?
Aye, it should.
In fact, as members of Parliament are not paid, we should have to support you.
That's about the size of it, gentlemen. But my tastes are modest. I would not like to live any better than the men I represented. London would have to take me as it finds me.
Any more questions?
No,
I think we've got a clear picture now.
Would you ask Mr. Winford Phillips to come in? Well, we've done our duty by him, I think. Give him a very fair hearing.
Aye.
Who's the next one? Oh, come in. Ah, sorry to keep you.
You know what these radicals are like once they get started.
Please. Now, let's get down to essentials straight away. What did you have in mind by way of a contribution to...
Mr. Winford Phillips was selected and I was not. I stood alone as an independent against Phillips, but I was soundly defeated. Yet things were changing. There was the match girls' strike, the gas workers' protest, the dock strike. The whole of the East End of London was rising in political consciousness. So much so that I went to West Ham South and was elected to Parliament as a Labour man. The movement for Labour representation in Parliament was backed by the unions, but not by enough. The large and powerful unions still looked to the Liberals. However, in 1900, members of the Railway Servants' Union at the Taff Vale Railway went on strike. When it was over, the railway company sued the union for damages. Eventually, the case was heard in the highest court in the land, the House of Lords. Come in. Ah, Richard.
Well, they've given their judgment.
Oh, the Lords. What was it?
I couldn't believe my ears. Nor could anyone else in court. The judges found for the Taff Vale Railway.
For the railway?
Yes. They said if a union causes an employer to lose money through going out on strike or picketing his premises to stop blacklegs getting in, that union has broken the law and can be sued for damages.
So your society, the railway servants, will have to pay compensation to the Taff Vale Company?
We shall. They didn't decide how much today. Probably take years to settle. You know what lawyers are like. And it's sure to be thousands of pounds. We'll be ruined, James. The employers will be able to cut wages, lengthen hours, do what they like. And if our people hit back by walking out, and the union supports them, it may have to pay out every penny it owns. The Lord's made that clear enough.
Oh, sit down, Dick. The bailiffs won't be calling on you yet. Don't you see, man? This is the chance we've been waiting for. Now their funds are threatened. The big unions will realize that if the law isn't changed, they'll have to disband. Up till now, they've had no real reason to want a voice in Parliament. Now they have.
We'll still need Liberal support.
Of course. But we must do what we did before. Make it plain that no Liberal who does not pledge himself to support a change in the law can expect a vote from any working man.
If the Liberals do as we wish, there'll be no real need for separate Labour members. I've always believed we should work with the Liberals, not against them.
The time will come when it is the Liberals who need our help. At the moment, we depend on them. The more Labour members there are, the more they'll heed our voice in Parliament. There'll be an end to this lib-lab tomfoolery. I know you'll not agree with me, Dick, but we can agree that the law must be changed for your railwaymen and my miners. And the unions will look to us soon enough when they understand what this morning's work by yon House of Lords means. And that will maybe be the first one. Now, what Union General Secretary could that be? Bad news travels fast. I said the time would come when the unions would come knocking on my door, but I didn't foresee they'd take me quite so literally. Go on, man, open it. There's work to be done. In 1906, 29 of our candidates were successful. They elected me their leader, and we called ourselves the Labour Party.
Must not change.